Now let's head to Capitol Hill, where we talk about the political implications of the president's acquittal. NBC News national political reporter Sahil Kapur joins us now. Sahil, basically minutes within hours of this acquittal, we saw Bill Cassidy, Republican from the state of Louisiana, who voted, who found the president guilty. The GOP in his state unanimously voted to censure him. What does this say about state-level Republicans in terms of those voters and the fact that their beliefs and the tactics that former President Trump employs, they stand with?
Stephanie, it shows the pressure that Republican senators have felt throughout this week from the moment House Democrats decided to impeach again, from their voters who, despite the fact that Donald Trump lost, despite the fact that Republicans also lost the House and the Senate on his watch, remain fiercely loyal to him and expect that loyalty from his senators. And we really see this in the list of seven Republicans who voted guilty to convict him. Two of them are retiring. Three of them just won re-election, including Cassidy. They're not facing voters again for 6 years. One of them, Lisa Murkowski, won a general election despite losing a Republican primary, and the seventh is Mitt Romney. So all the other Republicans who are running for re-election in a couple of years and want to face voters again knew that they were going to be looking at a situation that Bill Cassidy is dealing with now, where Republican state parties and voters back home would punish them if they took the step of finding Trump guilty.
Moments ago, Michael referred to Mitch McConnell as a first-class wimp, but he's also a strategic beast and one of the most politically savvy people in Washington. Shortly after voting to acquit former President Trump, he gave this scathing speech. You would have thought he morphed into a House manager. Let's share a little bit of that.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day. No question about it. The people who stormed this building believed they were acting on the wishes and instructions of their president.
Within moments of him finishing those remarks, my phone was ringing from government relations people at big companies. And they said that speech was for us. We saw so many big donors, big corporates say we cannot continue to give to Republicans after January 6th. Was this Mitch McConnell trying to say, come on back with your checkbooks?
Yes, Stephanie, I think it was. You certainly could have confused Mitch McConnell for Jamie Raskin if you just read the text of what he said. That was a pretty extraordinary speech, which came just moments after Mitch McConnell, along with 43 Republicans, cast decisive votes to acquit President Trump and make sure he doesn't get the two-thirds majority to convict. This is McConnell, in his strategic mind, recognizing that if he did convict President Trump, then his ability to lead the Senate Republican caucus would be undermined, given the very evident fact made clearer today that President Trump still owns this party. It is still his party, despite all of that. But yes, Stephanie, McConnell is kind of courting, on the other hand, Republican donors who are very troubled by what President Trump did, many of them at least, the big donors in Wall Street and the corporate wing of the party. He doesn't want them to kind of scurry away as a result of this, and he wants to signal to them that there is still a place for Trump skeptics in the Republican Party. But the question is how big a space that is at this moment.
But why are we to believe that Mitch McConnell truly believes Donald Trump did all sorts of wrong things? The reason he didn't find him guilty was said, well, you cannot pursue a guilty verdict from someone who's now a private citizen. That was Mitch McConnell's choice. Nancy Pelosi was ready with her papers to walk them over, and it was Mitch McConnell who already called the Senate into recess. It's on him. How can he possibly say, well, man, we couldn't do it? That was his doing.
Yeah, it's a fair question, Stephanie. And McConnell did not say in that stem winder of a speech if he would have found Trump guilty on the charges were he still president. So he was a little bit vague on that point. Now, what the McConnell office and McConnell aides I've talked to say is that he believed that in the week or so that the that the Senate had before President Trump was going to leave office and the time that the House impeached, that the Senate could not conclude a trial of him at the time. But I will point out, the vote on constitutionality was Tuesday. A majority of the Senate ruled that it was constitutional to try the president. The only vote today was guilty or not guilty. That was the decision by McConnell and other Republican senators to say he is not guilty, however they wanted to justify it.
Well, you could listen to what he says or watch what he does. And Mitch McConnell voted to acquit. NBC's Sahil Kapur, thank you so much.